Hey there, it's Stephanie Shade, Chief Astrologer for janspiller.com with your August 2022 astrological overview. So, August, we get another month with no inner planet retrogrades. Yay. Now, Mercury will enter the shadow of its next retrograde cycle on August 21st, so we may feel a bit of slowing as the month ends, but the actual Mercury retrograde does not start until September 9th. So in general, I think it's going to be a good month to get things done in our daily lives while we also evaluate the big picture. And the reason I say this is because even though there's no inner planet retrogrades, there will be, by the end of the month, 5 outer planet retrogrades. So that doesn't happen that much in any one year. There might be a month where all of a sudden all 5 happen to be retrograde. Then usually the next month or so another outer planet will go direct. They're all on different like kind of 5 and 6 month cycles, and so to me this offers a backdrop. I don't see outer planet retrogrades as an energy that affects our immediate day-to-day life, like a traffic jam or some kind of computer glitch, some of these Mercury retrograde type things. However, we might be reviewing some of our long-term plans. This could cause us to consider what we want for the big picture. And then as we come out of that, in October, I think is when when we'll have, the little break up the 5 planet retrograde. So you can see September also as the main month with all 5 in retrograde, because we won't have all 5 in retrograde until towards the end of the month when Uranus is the final one to go retrograde on August 24th. We will already have Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, Saturn in retrograde. Then Uranus joins the party August 24th, and I think with Uranus moving backwards in the sign of Taurus, it's going to help us get in touch with our unique skills. I think in a birth chart, Uranus helps us to express our inventive nature. So during the coming months, as Uranus is retrograde, we might come up with more original ideas on our own, and we can definitely work with what we have rather than creating something completely new. You might be reconsidering some bigger goals, and especially if they're goals that you had dismissed because you thought, no, that maybe that's not realistic. Uranus is kind of bringing out the why not energy. Like, hey, maybe that's all the more reason to do it. It can fire you up in that way, and it will help you break through some preconceived notions and maybe explore an unconventional path. So that's something I'm actually kind of looking forward to. Now, when we enter the shadow of Mercury retrograde, as I mentioned, things could slow down, but much of the month, Mercury is in a very productive position. From August 3rd to 24th, Mercury is going to be in Virgo. This offers some really strong energy to help us get organized. We can use these days to clear clutter from our home or office and organize our time to be more efficient. It's really strong time for anyone involved in writing, editing, or proofreading. Mercury in Virgo has that eagle eye for detail. Now on August 25th, Mercury will enter the sign of Libra, and that's going to help with diplomatic communications. So as we're moving towards this next Mercury retrograde cycle, we can use the power of Mercury in Libra to help seek some equitable solutions and use our best skills of negotiation. It will help us to ask some clarifying questions and make sure we're being understood, and that we understand, especially when it's any offers that are being presented to us. Right there towards the end of the month, right, when Mercury enters Libra, we can actually use the power of Mercury in Libra to help us navigate this shadow phase, just by kind of getting logical, stepping back, seeing things in a balanced way, and not having those knee-jerk reactions. Now we've got Venus moving into Leo. As the month begins, Venus is in Cancer, and that puts an emphasis on home and family life, and we might just feel like being with our inner circle of loved ones and not as out and about. Now, August 11th, Venus moves into Leo and remains in this sign the rest of the month. So in the days following August 11th, there's a much more extroverted energy afoot. And this can help us come out of our shell and enjoy spending time with other people. Leisure activities and playfulness are strongly supported. And yeah, if you're thinking of vacation time, I would say Venus in Leo is kind of nice for that. It's also really good for creative projects. It's great for artists to finally reap some material rewards. I know I put in the word finally because often creative people aren't doing it for the money. But when Venus is in Leo, you might be surprised. If you're a creative person, wow, people are valuing the arts. There's that overall vibe. We're going to be supported to express what's in our heart. And so it's kind of a loving time. People might be more warm and generous under this astrology, and it can help us connect to our self-worth. We might want to treat ourselves to something that makes us feel good about ourselves. When I think of Venus in Leo, I think maybe a new hairstyle or item of clothing or something that we feel enhances our appearance and makes us feel good about ourselves. Now, I will say under Venus in Leo, there can be a slightly indulgent energy that goes with that. So be careful about overspending during those days after the 11th when Venus moves into Leo. Now, we're going to have Mars in the sign of steady Taurus most of the month. That can really help us just keep our feet on the ground, make steady progress, stick to what we have committed to. However, August 20th, right before we're entering the shadow of Mercury retrograde, we've got Mars moving into Gemini. This might give us the urge to go faster, right? But Mercury retrograde shadow is telling us to go slower. So keep this in mind. What we need to try to harness from this Mars and Gemini energy is not the fast element that comes with Gemini, but more the curious element. Use this time for research. Really think about all the options you have available before just racing ahead. I think that's really good use of Mars and Gemini. We can use the days after the 20th to make a few quick decisions for ourselves before we really get into that Mercury retrograde. Like, okay, this is going to be my plan. I'm going to stick to it. And then after Mercury retrograde, I will reevaluate and not mess with the plan during Mercury retrograde. That kind of thing could work really well. I think Mars and Gemini is especially good for reaching out to others and meeting new people. So there's a good headline for those who are single. It could be a really good time to meet someone who piques your interest, and those in existing relationships will benefit from a change of routine under this astrology. Maybe a short getaway could be just what you need with your special loved one. So the new moon this month is August 27th. It's in the sign of Virgo. And this is a powerful new moon to make intentions that have to do with Virgo themes, planning, right? Tasks and errands, details, being more efficient, anything to do with your work or relationship with coworkers, as well as all of those health and wellness intentions that so many people keep as an ongoing basis. You get a lot of power at this Virgo new moon if you've been trying to clean up your diet or add more physical activity into your daily routine. This is going to be a great time to kick that off again before we hit Mercury retrograde September 9th. So if you become a subscriber to janspiller.com, you will get updates about the best time to set your intentions. You will get more detail about what you can do with different astrological energies. So I encourage you to check that out. This is Jan's dream, to keep her website going in her honor and as a resource. So check out janspiller.com memberships, and you can get all the details, not just about the new moon, but you can find out the best time to set these intentions, because it's not always just on the day of the new moon. Now let's look at the rest of the month. We are going to be working with, like I said, some outer planet retrogrades. I think I covered everything else. That's right. We've got the full moon. We can't forget that. August 12th is our full moon at 19 Aquarius. Now, Aquarius full moon is a really helpful energy for seeing the big picture. So if you have felt like you've been bogged down sort of in the drama of some situation, seeing things like too closely from within your relationship, not being able to get a bigger perspective, the full moon in Aquarius can be quite helpful for that. I also like Aquarius full moon energy for group projects and activism, community-based efforts. These type of things tend to flourish around the full moon in Aquarius, and you can see the results of work that you've put in. Now, on the flip side, you know, every moon has its different energies. I'd say the Aquarius full moon could highlight an issue that needs to be resolved between friends. Aquarius is a sign that rules friendship. So something may come to light that you realize you've got to change your approach to a certain friendship. Someone isn't who you thought they were. This type of thing can come up. If you have to address important issues with anyone, I would wait till a couple days after the full moon has passed. That's usually better timing for everybody feeling more grounded and less carried away by emotion. Even in a sign like Aquarius, which isn't traditionally known to be emotional because it's opposing the sun in Leo, which is known to be very expressive about their emotions. It can stir things up that really aren't as intense as, you know, as they are, if that makes sense. It doesn't have to be that big of a deal. And a few days after the Aquarius full moon, you could get the insight on how to get what you need without making a big drama. So that's a great thing to consider. I hope that you can make the most of all of August's energies. We can get a lot done before we start going into a slower retrograde themed fall. And don't let that scare you, because if you have been building things and you still have this month to take those baby steps forward, you can be quite productive. The retrogrades don't have to shut you down, but I like to give people that heads up so you have an opportunity to work with the forward moving energies while they're here. So I'll get this video out early for you, and I hope you enjoy your month, and I can't wait to see you next month.